The wait is over. The finalized external designs for Apple's iPhone 17 Pro Max and the all-new iPhone 17 Air have officially surfaced, and they're exactly what accessory brands will be using to build compatible cases. These aren't just renders or vague leaks. We're talking hands-on mock-ups made from official schematics. That means what you're about to see is very likely what Apple plans to ship. In this in-depth breakdown, we take a close look at the actual physical models of both phones, side by side with the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro Max. Let's examine their size, thickness, camera layouts, and design language to better understand what's really changed and what it all means for Apple's next generation of smartphones. The iPhone 17 Air, slim, striking, and sleek. Right away, the iPhone 17 Air demands attention with its larger footprint and ultra-thin profile. It's sleek, unmistakably lightweight, and looks like the evolution of the traditional iPhone form factor. The display has been extended to around 6.6 inches, which makes it physically larger than the iPhone 16 despite both feeling surprisingly close in hand. What's really fascinating here is how the iPhone 17 Air maintains a rigid, premium feel without appearing delicate. Apple has clearly found a balance between thin and durable, likely thanks to their rumored use of reinforced materials like stronger aluminum alloys or even new internal structures. A new look from the rear. Flip the phone over and you'll find a clean, minimalist rear redesign. The rear cameras have been relocated into a horizontal bar across the top, far from the triangular cluster we've grown used to since the iPhone 11 Pro. This band houses the lenses, LED flash, microphone, and LiDAR sensor, now positioned toward one side. Gone is the asymmetry of the older camera layout. In its place is a bold, centered design decision that gives the iPhone 17 Air a unique identity. The middle of the phone's rear is now empty, contributing to an elegant and futuristic feel. The layout mirrors the Pro Max in concept, but the execution is even more minimal here. Apple has never taken such a bold visual leap since the flat-edge design returned with the iPhone 12. It's fresh, it's modern, and it's unmistakably Apple. Thickness and size comparison: Air versus iPhone 16. Place the iPhone 17 Air next to an iPhone 16 or iPhone 16 Pro Max and the difference becomes instantly clear. It's not just the thinner design, it's the overall feel. This isn't a cosmetic slimming. It's a complete rethink of dimensions. The Air's slimness brings it into a new category of smartphone experience. It's about a third thinner than its predecessor, yet doesn't skimp on camera hardware or battery compartment space. Of course, the rear camera bump now protrudes more, likely to accommodate larger sensors, but that's a necessary compromise for such a slim main body. eSIM only, the physical SIM is gone. Another major shift comes in the form of connectivity. The iPhone 17 Air drops the physical SIM card tray in favor of a fully eSIM-only setup globally. While some regional versions, like UK or European units, may still carry a SIM slot for now, Apple's intent is clear: full transition to digital SIMs. The move follows the trend that began in the US with the iPhone 14. It reduces internal space requirements and further enables Apple's slim design goals. That said, this could pose challenges in markets where eSIM support is still inconsistent. USB-C and button refinements. Looking at the bottom of the phone, the differences become even more nuanced. The speaker grill holes are now slightly smaller and arranged more symmetrically. The USB-C port also appears to be positioned just off-center. Barely noticeable, but an intentional move. Perhaps an internal hardware reconfiguration demanded that subtle shift. Meanwhile, the buttons on the side are slimmer and more refined than on the iPhone 16, matching the thinness of the chassis while maintaining Apple's signature clicky tactility. Even with such a slim profile, usability hasn't been sacrificed. iPhone 17 Pro Max. What's new and what's familiar? The Pro Max design also gets a refresh, though it's more subtle compared to the dramatic overhaul of the Air. Most notable is the new camera bar that spans the top rear. It still holds the familiar triple camera setup but spreads the lenses out just slightly more than before. There may be larger sensors under the hood, but the overall look is clean and compact. The LiDAR sensor, microphone, and LED flash are all aligned to one side, just like the Air, marking a unified design language across the lineup. Still, The overall structure remains familiar. Same button placements, similar thickness, nearly identical to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and nearly the same hand feel. Minimal differences in thickness. When the iPhone 17 Pro Max is stacked against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, there's almost no discernible difference in thickness. If anything, we're looking at a change of 0.1 millimeters, so minimal you'd need a caliper to measure it. In other words, Apple is keeping its Pro Max sturdy and solid while refining the design only slightly. Camera bump height, however, does appear increased. Likely due to the improved 48MP sensors, Apple has decided to let the lenses protrude a bit more than before, a choice many will find acceptable given the imaging benefits. 3 major upgrades across the lineup. Beyond the visual and physical design, the iPhone 17 Air and Pro Max will introduce several hardware improvements that fans have long been asking for. These are not just cosmetic upgrades. These are real leaps in performance, display quality, and photography. More RAM for everyone. Both the iPhone 17 Air and iPhone 17 Pro Max are expected to ship with 12 GB of RAM, up from 8 GB in current models. This aligns Apple with its Android counterparts and gives more breathing room for multitasking and iOS 20 SIX's new Liquid Glass UI. 120Hz display on all models. One of the biggest surprises is the addition of 120Hz refresh rate displays across the lineup, including the non-Pro models. For the first time, iPhones like the 17 Air will match the smoothness of their Pro siblings. This change levels the playing field and brings a high-end experience to more users. 48MP rear and 24MP front cameras. All 3 rear cameras are expected to be upgraded to 48 megapixels, while the front camera sees a significant jump to 24MP. This would mark the first major front camera upgrade since the iPhone 14 Pro. The combination of high-res sensors on both ends means Apple is taking photography seriously in every model, not just the Pro. Final thoughts, a new chapter for iPhones. These case manufacturer mock-ups aren't speculative. They're built using finalized schematics and represent the real dimensions Apple will ship. What they reveal is a bold new chapter, especially for the iPhone 17 Air. Apple is clearly experimenting with a new design language. Minimalist, sleek, and bold in execution. The Air brings radical thinness and an eSIM-only future. The Pro Max continues its legacy while introducing small but meaningful refinements. The move to 120Hz across all models, bigger camera sensors, and increased RAM is exciting. These upgrades show that Apple is listening. And if these mock-ups are anything to go by, we're about to see the most significant iPhone design shift since the iPhone X.